Okay, boom. Garrett Crochet, the newest member of the Boston Red Sox that sent everyone into a frenzy. I was in Disney. I don't know how much you followed any of the content, but trade goes down, and I'm now live streaming at Winnie the Pooh. Where were you when you got the news?
Yeah, I was just at my house in Nashville. Was really waiting to do any off-season plans before figuring out where I was going. But yeah, fired up.
I mean, I feel like it's been years of building up where the Red Sox were just going to make this big nuts on the table move. And how gratifying is it for you to know that, like, you're the move that got Red Sox fans excited? Like, oh, like, we got a fucking guy here now. But by the way, shout out to Lou Merlone. He's been calling you the pig, the boss hog, the war pig. Boom. Which one do you like the most, by the way?
I mean, any of them.
Yeah. Dude, I like the pig. I've been getting blown up on my Instagram comments about it. My wife thinks it's hilarious too, so I'm kind of rolling with it for her sake right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, the trade stuff is really cool. You know, just to be talked about like that, it's not something that I take lightly. You know, I look forward to playing my part on this staff and on this team and helping the guys win a lot of games this year.
Love that. What are you weighing these days? Because everyone keeps talking about.
What's your weight, huh?
Yeah, like Devers got asked the other day, and it was like a weird question, but like everyone looks at you and they're like, "This dude's built out of fucking bricks." Like, what are we?
Yeah, I'm like 255, 260, trying to stay around 255.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How do we feel yesterday after it's an off season of change? It's your first time going out there on the mound wearing a Red Sox uniform. You see JetBlue Park. You see Red Sox fans. Everyone's fired up to see you pitch. Like, how did it feel to actually go out there and play baseball?
Yeah, it was cool. I'm trying not to over-critique myself just with the first one. But a lot of progress from some stuff that I was working on throughout the offseason. Used the sinker a good bit, so I was happy with that. But just to put on the uniform was pretty sweet. When I was out in Arizona, the crowds weren't like they were here, so it was pretty cool to have a lively bunch yesterday.
So, not to throw shade, I'm not going to do that. You came from a bad situation last year. You will now be playing in front of a sold-out crowd every single time you take the mound at Fenway Park. You'll also be injected into the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry. You'll be pitching at Yankee Stadium. They're going to boo the shit out of you. But that's a sign of respect. They're like, we're afraid of this guy, so we need to boo him. How much do you think that will elevate your game? Are you anticipating having to harness your energy because it's a completely different environment that you just came from, and it's going to be a certain jolt of energy for you?
Yeah, that's a lot of the conversations that I had leading up to the trade with my agent. Was like, I hope to land in a situation like this because as a kid you grow up watching professional baseball, and now that I'm in it, AL East is like the highest of the highs in professional baseball. I mean, you could argue NL West, but whatever. We won't get into that.
I would not.
But dude, I'm excited. Every team is competitive and fielding a strong bunch, so I look forward to having those matchups, 2-3 times a month at this rate.
I'm always curious of other players' perspective on Red Sox Yankees and like how you view that intensity versus anything that would have happened with the White Sox. I guess the Cubs, I don't know if you guys played every year, but how do you view that from the outside, and now how are you expecting to experience that being a huge part of it now?
Yeah, it's cool. I feel like every team kind of has that feeling when the Yankees come into town, but I mean, I watched the comeback right when I got traded, so you could definitely feel it.
That's a good call.
You could definitely feel it. There's a different intensity there. So that's something that I look forward to.
How much, like, you came from the SEC, obviously. How much do you think that helps you prepare? Because those are some crazy crowds, too.
Yeah. Probably the AL East of NCAA, to be honest. So I think that's something that, you kind of slowly level up and unlock this different version of yourself through playing in those kinds of atmospheres. So I think it's something that I'm ready for and a challenge I welcome.
Is this a situation where you do feel like playing in front of the sold-out crowd, like, can that unlock something? Do you think you've reached your maximum potential, or are you thinking, once I get there and feel that energy, I'm curious to see like what that does?
Right. I think that I definitely have a lot of room to grow. I've got one season as a starter under my belt. I'm 25. I think that I'm only just now, starting to incline to where I can be in my career. So I look forward to, throwing 180 innings this year, 200 innings wherever I end up, and just seeing what that kind of workload can do to help the team.
I think what's super interesting about you is more often than not, almost 95% of the time, if there's a special talent, a superstar talent, which I will throw that label on you, and they get traded, it's like, well, we're basically just renting this guy. But the tag that kind of came with you was he's interested. Like he's interested in a long-term commitment. The idea was if he gets traded somewhere, he wants to have a home somewhere. What is it about you that makes you kind of say, not to put it on you that you wouldn't go to free agency, but like what makes it about the long term that intrigues you so much?
Yeah, for me, just my personality. As soon as I was traded over here, I want this to be a place that I could just, run myself into the ground, like just no regards for the rest of my career. Like I want to give everything that I have into this season and not have to worry about potential implications that happen in the long term. That's just the kind of guy I am. I want to leave it all out there on the field every time that I make a start. And, as far as the extension stuff goes, it's got to work out for both sides. But, I look forward to having those conversations.
When Rick Porcello got traded over here, he was here for like 2 weeks and they gave him an extension. Is there part of you that you want to see it? Like you want to stand on the mound at Fenway Park as a member of the Red Sox? Like what boxes are you hoping to check beyond just the financial commitment, years and dollars?
It's definitely just feeling the atmosphere of the organization out for sure. Getting in Boston and making sure that's a place where my wife is comfortable and a place where I'm comfortable and can see myself long term. So far going there as a visitor, it seems to check all the boxes, but it'll be nice to be able to play 82 or 81 home games here this year. That'll be a good time.
How has that gone so far? Just your talks with the team and kind of where you're at mentally with signing potentially an extension before the season starts. Like where are you at right now with the concept of getting that done before you throw a real inning with the Red Sox?
Yeah, conversations are being had, kind of just gauging where we're at and where they're at. And it's kind of just a back and forth in that regard. The pace has kind of just been constant throughout the entire offseason, and I expect that to continue.
We interrupt this Garrett Crochet interview to tell you about the good folks at Blue Moon. You're probably drinking on a Blue Moon right now, just listening to this Garrett Crochet interview. We already know what the plan is, because even if you love beer, there are some moments that you want to enjoy a non-alcoholic drink. Celebrate those times with Blue Moon's non-alcoholic Belgian white, Belgian style wheat brew. It's for when you want to drink a non-alcoholic version of your favorite beer. Steve, are you going to have some Blue Moons tonight?
Absolutely will. Unfortunately for you guys, you got to get up early. I don't.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have a fun night having some Blue Moons.
Yeah, that's nice. I'm going to have a couple more Blue Moons before I go to bed, though. It's not the night's not complete until I've had my Blue Moons, but inspired by the beer that you already love and available year-round, a Belgian white, Belgian-style wheat brew that tastes like drinking, even if it's not. Crafted with Valencia orange peel and coriander, it tastes balanced and refreshing. Nothing compares to the great taste of a Blue Moon non-alcoholic Belgian white, Belgian-style wheat brew. Blue Moon made brighter. Get Blue Moon non-alcoholic Belgian white, Belgian-style wheat brew delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared for delivery options. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. Blue Moon, made brighter, celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Non-alcoholic malt beverage, contains less than 0.5% alcohol per volume. And suck one.
What's it been like working with Bailey and Tech since you got over here? You said you're working on new pitches, obviously. I think yesterday they were talking about your leg kick different from last year. So how's that been, talking to them? There's been so much talk even before you got here about the pitching lab and what Breslow's building and on down. How's that been for you to integrate coming from a different situation?
Yeah, it's interesting just looking back to a year ago. Once you're in season, it's hard to be able to ask these kinds of questions and experiment. And I added the sinker back in really September. I kind of threw it a little bit in August. We're working on just different slider looks as well. So now that I have the chance to actually work on it and having 6 pitches this spring, last spring I had 2.5. So it's been interesting to have these conversations, as well as during live ABs I had Bregman in there and Story in there. So it's asking these guys who, I look up to and are guys that you don't want to face in the regular season. So it's nice to be able to have those looks with them now and kind of see what their plan of attack is against me and how I can combat that.
Is there any shit talk from those guys? I know one of them took you deep. I think it was Trevor.
No. It's all love. Especially hitters are typically a little bit behind pitchers. So when he got me, I feel like that was enough for him to feel good.
Yeah. Were you aware that, like, statistically your sinker was one of the best pitches in baseball last year?
Small sample, but yeah, I knew that I had really good results, especially
No one hit it out of the infield.
Going back to a start against San Diego, I think it was my second to last start. That was when I kind of realized what it could do for my arsenal. I'm a heavy glove side pitcher, just 4-seam cutter, so having something that moves hard the opposite way, and it's 97, 99, I think that it plays pretty well.
I think that's
Disgusting.
decent. Is there something that like locks you in before games? Any start of yours I've watched, I'm like, this guy is intense. Like your whole presence. I mean, naturally you're like a big dude. We already got your weight down. But like, is there something you do to really lock in before your starts? Because when you're out there, it seems like you don't even really hear what's going on. You seem to be in that kind of zone.
Nothing in particular. I just got really comfortable in my routine. And I take a lot of pride in the work that I do leading up to each start. So for me, it's when I'm out there on the mound, the result's inevitable. If you're going to take me deeper, if I'm going to punch you out, it's already kind of happened, so to speak. So I'm not really applying too much pressure on myself. It's just getting the job done and executing.
Do you feel like you have anything to prove to yourself at this point?
Maybe a little bit, but that's the unique part about baseball. Every season, you got to go out and prove it all over again. So I look forward to that challenge.
I think, was it May? Red Sox went out to Chicago last year,
Yeah.
and you shoved it
Undressed,
directly down
yeah.
our
Oh, it was
dick
insane.
hole.
Way up
And we
there.
knew it was coming.
Couldn't
too.
see it
As
anymore.
as you were watching, and now
We knew
as
it
you're
was coming.
part of this, I mean, lefties last year, and then you specifically. What, you was like 13K, something like that. It was quite a start.
I think it was 10.
Oh, good. It was sick.
Sure,
Take
something
higher.
like yeah. But as you were watching this team, and now as you're a part of it, what kind of changes did you see from the outside versus this year? Obviously, you weren't in the clubhouse or anything like that, but just even as you watched the lineup yesterday while you're pitching, are you just like, wow, there's been a lot of changes, or just anything you noticed?
Well, not to shit on myself, but I know in the second half you guys got me pretty good, and I think that was kind of.
I don't remember that. Was that that four game?
I hope
late
the
in
listeners don't either. But later in the year, I think that the offense kind of found their stride, and as Jaron really picked up steam and going into the All-Star break, I think that I might have caught you guys a little bit before that, and I think that you saw in the second half that as he went, the team went.
Sure.
So I think that that's what we could look forward to this year. He's going to have a lot more protection in the lineup with the healthy Story and Bregman being in there, so I look forward to watching him.
Yeah.
I saw the other day that Paul Skeens is working on adding 2 new pitches. You've obviously added a disgusting sinker, and then working with Bailey, you're adding more stuff. Do you guys feel mean? Like, do you have like a record?
It's rude.
You had like record strikeout numbers last year, and then you're trying to improve. Do you feel like a bully or no?
No.
I feel like I'm just doing my job to.
Are you a bully or not? Like,
Yeah, you just like it's abuse. It's abuse is what it is.
Oh, clearly.
Do you
it is.
have statistics that you kind of look at in terms of goals? Like, I want to reach like a strikeouts per 9 of X.
Not really. I try and keep it more start to start. I mean, I hope to eclipse certain marks, sure, but if I don't focus where my feet are, then that's never going to happen. I feel like there were times last year where right when you feel like you've got it, you lose it, and then I heard Sale say that the other day actually too. He was saying it, and then right when you feel like you lost it, it's right back where it was before. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's just taking it start to start and never feeling like I can really get a chance to catch my breath, because I don't want to. I want to keep growing, and I don't want to feel any sense of complacency throughout the season.
You brought him up. Yeah. Are you tired of hearing the Sale comparisons, or do you love it because you're just like, well, yeah, that guy's filthy too?
Yeah, I'm 50-50. It's a cool comp. I'm at such an early stage in my career that it's like it's very lofty, and it's something that it's a point I hope to get to in my career. But also it's like I'm trying to be my own guy. I feel like I'm trying to add different pitches. I know that he did it for a long time with primarily 2 dominant pitches, and I feel like we're just a little bit different in that regard.
What was your biggest takeaway from just facing the Red Sox? I know you mentioned Jaron, and obviously he got hot last year, and hopefully he repeats that this season. But outside of Jaron, you look down the list, Rafi, obviously the lineup's going to be a little bit different now that you have Bregman in there. But what were your biggest takeaways last season?
Yeah, just relentless. Even in the first start, I think that I threw like 100 pitches and barely got through 6. Even when felt like I was controlling the game, it was long at bats and guys that had good approaches and just playing the game hard. I remember I thought I punched Duran out on a check swing, and it didn't go my way. And then he hit a dribbler that I threw up the line, and it turned into a triple. So I feel like that really just summarized what the team was last year. They were gritty and playing the game hard, and just making the other guy earn it.
What's your relationship been like so far with Alex Cora, like having him as a manager? And I think all the feedback that we've gotten from guys who played for John Farrell before him, and then the difference with Alex Cora is communication. Like, what's that been like for you?
Yeah, it's been great so far. I played with Maldonado last year, and he would talk about him all the time about how great he was, and Bregman as well just has come in and really just rallied around AC, and it helps everyone else too. I mean, not that everyone else had to; they were here prior to myself. But he's a guy that you could lean on and a guy that you could trust to be honest and communicate well, which is great. It's what you're looking for.
One of my favorite baseball clips, or a baseball clip that gets me going, the Mike Mussina clip where he tells Joe Torre to get back in the dugout, and John Lackey, like he would be like, "This is my guy." When you envision yourself pitching in big games, are you gonna defer to the manager, or are you the type of guy that you're like, "I got this guy"? Like, are you kind of like, are you built like that? Basically, is what I'm asking.
I've got a lot of trust in my ability, sure, but I also have a lot of faith in my teammates, and it's something that at the end of the day, the call's above me. I don't want to set the precedent that I'm going to be telling AC off, but I hope that it could be a true conversation where we could both have input.
The storm is rampant.
Yeah, we're about to get rained on. We don't want to take up too much of your time. Do you guys have anything else?
No.
Now I'm just very excited to watch it.
Yeah.
This whole
Dude,
season.
Dude, we're pumped you're
Like,
here. You're
people-
sick. You're a
Yeah.
pig. No, this is
You
great.
you definitely didn't notice because you were locked in, but people were on their feet for your first pitch with the Red Sox yesterday.
Oh,
Like
it was big.
that's how like excited people are that you're here. So
That was big.
first of all, thank you for joining us, and second of all, best of luck. We're very excited that you're here.
Thank you guys for having me.
Anytime. Garrett Crochet.
Great to meet you guys.
You too.
Oh yeah.